My name is Maisie Savage. I'm 31 years old. 7 years ago, on the morning of my final interview, my father laughed in my face and said, "Girls like you don't get lives, Maisie. You get duties." Right then, my mother blocked the front door while my younger sister dropped a heavy diaper bag at my feet and smirked, "Watch my daughter, I have brunch." They didn't care. I had one chance at a real future. They wanted me to stay their unpaid servant forever, so I stepped over that bag, walked out the back door, and never looked back. For 7 years, they thought they had destroyed me. They were wrong. Now the tables have completely turned. My sister is about to discover just how expensive her brunch was that day. Before I continue, if this story is already making your blood boil, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from and what time is it right now. I read every single one. Let me know if you're on Team Maisie, because what happens next will leave you speechless. I need you to understand something about my family. We weren't poor, we weren't uneducated, we looked perfectly normal from the outside. My father owned Savage Climate Control, a small high-vac company in Riverside, Ohio. 8 employees, good reputation, church-going family, 2 daughters. On paper, we were fine. But inside that house, there was a system and I was at the bottom of it. My sister Bryn was 2 years younger than me, but you'd never know it from the way my parents treated her. She was the golden one, the pretty one, the one who got pregnant at 19, and somehow that made her more valuable, not less. She had a daughter, Olivia, beautiful little girl with blonde curls and my eyes. Olivia's first word was my. Her first steps were towards me, not towards Bryn. That should have been a red flag. But I was 20 years old and I thought helping family was what you just did. It started small. "Maisie, can you watch Olivia for an hour while I run to the store?" Then it was 3 hours. Then it was all day Saturday. Then it was overnight. By the time I was 22, I was essentially raising my niece while Bryn tried to become an influencer. That's not a joke. Bryn started a lifestyle blog called Mummy Emotion. She had 14 followers, 12 of whom were relatives. She posted aesthetic photos of Olivia wearing bouquet outfits my parents bought. She wrote captions about motherhood and sacrifice. She never mentioned that I was the one doing the actual mothering. The blog failed. Then she tried selling essential oils, lost £800. Then she tried photography, booked one wedding, delivered the photos 3 months late, got a bad review, but my parents never told her to get a real job. Instead, they told me I needed to help more. "Your sister is trying," my mother would say. "She's building something. You're just here." I was more than here. I was answering phones at Savage Climate Control every morning by 7. I was rescheduling 4 field technicians across a 6-count service area. I was processing invoices, managing the customer database, handling account receivable and payable. When the duty manager quit in 2017, I took over all her duties. My father never gave me a title, never put me on payroll. When I asked about payment, he said the same thing every time. "Family doesn't pay family, Maisie. This is how you contribute." Bryn's got the babies to think about. Babies, plural by them. Tyler was born when I was 23. Another mouth for me to feed, another diaper for me to carry, another nap schedule tapped to my fridge. I did the maths one late at night when I couldn't sleep. 35 hours at the office, 30 more watching Olivia and Tyler, 65 hours of unpaid labour every single week for 3 years. Minimum wage in Ohio was $12 an hour. That would have been $65,520 I'd given them. But it wasn't really about money. It was about the fact that they'd turned my 20s into a waiting room for everyone else's life. I slept on Bryn's couch 3 nights a week because Tyler had colic and Danny's useless. She says Danny was her on and off again boyfriend, father of her children. Nice enough guy, but he worked nights and Bryn didn't believe in sleep training. My own bedroom at my parents' house became storage for Olivia's toys. The bed was covered in Bryn's laundry. I had a corner, a lamp, a pile of library books. I never had time to read. I was 24 years old and I didn't have a life. I had duties. Then in March of 2019, everything changed. I had been taking free online courses at night. Google Project Management Certification, Excel Basic HR Principles. I didn't have money for a real college, but I had Wi-Fi and I had Olivia's nap time. I learnt, I built a resume and tried very hard to make project manager for my family vac sound professional. I applied for 60 jobs over 4 months. Meriden Consulting Group was the only one that called back. Phone call went well, Zoom interview went better. Then they invited me to Columbus for an in-person final round. Executive assistant to the CEO, $63,500 a year, benefits, professional development, budget, travel opportunity. I read that email 30 times. I printed it, hid it under my mattress like a teenage diary. It was my exit visa. The position wasn't glamorous. I'd be rescheduling meetings, managing correspondence, handling logistics, but it was real, it was mine, and it was in Columbus, 105 miles away from Riverside, for enough to breathe. I told my parents I had a dental appointment in Tollerod. I borrowed a blazer from my college friend Jenna, navy, slightly too big but professional enough. I practiced answers in the bathroom mirror. I researched the company until I could recite their mission statement in my sleep. The interview was scheduled for Monday, April 15th at 2 p.m. I needed to leave the house by 11:30 to catch the 12:05 bus. At 10:45 that morning, I came downstairs with my purse and my folder of resume copies. I was wearing black slacks, a white blouse and that borrowed blazer. My hair was in a neat bun. I had $17 and a bus ticket in my wallet. My mother was standing in front of the door, arms crossed, lips thin, that look on her face that meant the decision had already been made. "Where do you think you're going?" she said. "I told you, dentist." Bryn called. "She has a brunch meeting with a potential sponsor for her blog. Very important. You need to watch Olivia and Tyler." My chest tightened. "I can't today. You have duties, Maisie." My father's voice came from the kitchen. He walked into the hallway holding his coffee mug. He wasn't angry, he was amused. "That what you have?" I looked at the clock on the wall, 10:47. I had 78 minutes until the bus left. That's when Bryn walked in through the side door. Taylor on her hip, Olivia trailing behind with her stuffed rabbit and a diaper bag the size of a suitcase. She looked at me. No apology, no acknowledgement, just expectations. She sat Tyler down on the floor, dropped the diaper bag at my feet. It was a heavy thump. "Olivia needs lunch at noon," Bryn said, checking her phone. "Tyler naps at 1. Don't let him sleep past 2:30 or he'll be up all night. I'll be back by 4. "Probably. I can't," I said. My voice sounded far away. "I have something important." Bryn laughed, actually laughed. "More important than family?" My father took a sip of coffee, looked at me like I was a disappointing employee. "Girls like you don't have lives, Maisie. You get duties. That's just how it is." Olivia looked up at me, 4 years old, blonde curls, my eyes. My, play blocks, her little voice, her trust. I looked at her, then at the diaper bag, then at my mother still blocking the front door, then at my father leaning against the wall, then at Bryn, already turning away, confident I'd stay. I looked at the clock, 10:49, and I did something I've never done before. I stepped over the diaper bag, walked past Bryn, past my father, through the kitchen to the back door that led to the driveway. My mother's voice behind me, "Maisie, and if you walk out that door." I opened it. The April air was cold, 47 degrees and overcast. The kind of grey morning that feels like it might rain. I walked down the driveway, turned left, and started walking towards the bus station, 1.2 miles in $12 payless flats. My phone buzzed 6 times in my pocket. I didn't look. I passed Savage Climate Control on the way. The building was lit, my father's truck in the lot, the sign with his name on it. The place had been working for 3 years without a single paycheck. I kept walking. I made it to the Riverside bus station at 11:58, 7 minutes to spare. I bought my ticket with the $17 I'd saved from my birthday money over 2 years. The woman at the counter didn't ask why I was shaking. The bus pulled out at 12:05. I sat in the back row watching Riverside disappear through the window, watched the trees turn into highways, watched the mile counters count up. I thought, I'm free. I didn't know yet that what freedom would cost. The bus stopped at a gas station in Finley halfway through, 12:58. I went to the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror. My mascara had smudged from the wind. I didn't have a makeup bag. I wet paper towels and fixed my face as well as I could. Rolled the long blazer sleeves down, checked my hair. I looked presentable, not polished, but trying. A woman with a toddler in the bathroom stared at me. I avoided eye contact. I couldn't handle mother judgment that day. The bus arrived at Columbus Station at 1:57. The interview was at 2. The Meriden office was 3 blocks away. I ran in those $12 flats, purse bouncing, folder clutched to my chest. I arrived at the lobby at 2:02, sweating and breathless. Patricia Holland was waiting. Chief of Staff, mid-50s, sharp grey suit, kind eyes. She smiled when she saw me. "You made it," she said. I almost cried, but I didn't. I smiled back and said, "Wouldn't miss it." She led me to the conference room panel interview. 3 people: Patricia, James, the CFO, Nicole Herendis, operations manager. They asked about software skills, handling difficult clients, managing calendar across time zones, discretion. I answered, while I used Savage Climate Control without saying it, it was a family business, just small high-vat company, 8 employees. I managed scheduling and customer service. Nicole leaned forward. You're self-taught in project management. Yes, I completed Google certification while working part-time. I'm very motivated to learn. Patricia made a note. What would this position mean to you? I was careful, honest. It would mean building a career instead of just surviving. It would mean growth. They nodded, took notes. The interview ended at 3:15. Patricia walked me out. We'll be in touch within a week. You're a strong candidate, Maisie. I floated to the bus station. The ride back to Riverside felt different, lighter. I'd done it. I'd walked out. I'd made it to the interview on my own. I answered every question. The interview went well. I had a real shot. By the time the bus pulled into Riverside at 5:38, I already started imagining my new life. I didn't know my mother had already started destroying it. I walked from the bus station to my parents' house, 6:05. The lights were on, cars in the driveway. I used my keys, walked in. The family was in the living room. Bryn feeding Tyler, my father watching television, my mother in the kitchen. No one spoke. I went upstairs, pulled my old duffel bag from the closet, packed clothes for 5 days, my laptop, phone charger, toiletries, the folder with my certifications and resume copies, and $127 in cash I'd saved from birthday cards over 3 years. My mother appeared in the doorway. You embarrassed this family today, she said. I zipped the bag. I'm leaving. You'll be back. I looked at her, really looked. No, I won't. I slept one more night in that house, on the floor of my childhood bedroom, because the bed was covered in Bryn's laundry. Last night in that house, April 15, 2019, I left at 6 a.m. the next morning. My father's truck was already gone. My mother was asleep. Bryn's car in the driveway. I walked out of the front door, the one my mother had blocked. I left my keys on the kitchen counter and I took the Greyhound to Colorado. My college friend Jenna worked as a dental hygienist. She had a studio apartment and a couch I could borrow. She asked one question. You're okay? I said I will be. She handed me a blanket and didn't push. I slept on that couch from April 16th to May 3rd. 17 days. I applied for jobs every morning, checked my emails obsessively for the Meriden response. It came on April 23rd, 8 days after the interview. Subject line, re-executive assistant position. I opened it. Dear Maisie, thank you for your interest in the executive assistant position. After careful consideration, we have decided to move forward with another candidate whose qualifications more closely match our current needs. We wish you the best in your job search. Sincerely, Meriden HR. Generic, professional, no explanation. I read it 20 times looking for clues. Found nothing. I cried once in Jenna's bathroom. Then I washed my face and applied for 15 more jobs. What I wouldn't know for 7 years, that was the day after my interview. My mother had sent an email from a fake account to the Meriden HR department, and that email was sitting in my file, flagged in red with a note that said, do not hire family concerns. But on April 23rd, 2019, I just thought I'd failed. Let me pause here and ask you something. Have you ever had a family member who just expected to sacrifice? The one who had duties while everyone else had dreams? If that's you, comment duty below. You're not alone. And stick with me because this story gets a whole lot better. I got a job at Target in May, $11 an hour, cashier, then guest services. I moved into a cheap studio on June, $4.25 a month, no AC, loud neighbours. But it was mine. I saved every penny, applied to office jobs every night. In December, I got a temp position at a law firm. $16 an hour, administrative support. It felt like progress. Then COVID hit in March 2020. Layoffs, I was let go. I had $3,200 saved. Unemployed benefits, survivor mode. I sent a birthday card to Olivia every year, April 3rd. Her birthday never got a response, not once. But I kept sending, return address, just M. Columbus. No phone number, no street. I sent them to my parents' house knowing Bryn visited there for Sunday dinners and free babysitting. The 2020 card said, happy 5th birthday. I think about you every day. Love, Art Maisie. Silence. June 2020, I was scrolling LinkedIn at 11 p.m. Couldn't sleep, rent due in 8 days. $1,840 left in my savings and then I saw it. HR coordinator, Meriden Consulting Group, Columbus. The company that had rejected me was hiring again. I stayed at the post for 3 hours. Then I applied at 2 a.m. I used Jenna's address. She'd just moved to Columbus for a new job. I used a different email, update resume showing target law firm experience, Google certification. Phone interview happened June 18th, Zoom on June 25th, offer on July 2nd, $45,000 a year. HR coordinator starting on July 13th. I sat on my apartment floor when I got that email. Called Jenna, cried, didn't call my family. I moved to Columbus July 10th. Small one-bedroom apartment, $695 a month. 15-minute bus ride to Meriden. July 13th, 2020, I walked into Meriden Consulting Group, the same building I'd interviewed in April 2019. Different entrance, different role, different position of myself. I told myself, this time I'll make it stick. The first year was hard. I processed new hire paperwork, scheduled interviews, filed benefit forms, learned high-risk systems. I stayed late, asked questions, volunteered for projects. Nicole, one of the people who'd interviewed me in 2019, was now VP of Operations Notice. She became an informal mentor. You're good at this, she said one day. Have you ever thought about HR certification? I thought about it, can't afford it yet. Company had tuition reimbursement. Looked into HRMCP. I'll sponsor you. I studied for the certification at night, passed in January 2021. First professional accreditation with my name on it. I framed it. June 2021, Nicole called me into her office. There's a HR specialist opening, want to apply? I said yes before she finished the sentence. I got the job, $52,000 a year. Then things started moving faster. I handled employee relations, compliance audits, led benefits, open enrollment, investigated harassment complaints. I rewrote policies, I learned employment laws. I trained new coordinates, March 2022, senior HR specialist, $61,000. August 2023, HR manager, $76,000. I managed a team of 3, April 2024, HR director, $98,000 a year. I had an office on the 4th floor, a window facing the Columbus skyline. My name on the door, Maisie Savage, HR director. I took a picture of the door, sent it to no one, just kept it. I built something real, something mine. No one had given it to me. I climbed every step and I'd done it in the same building where I'd been rejected 7 years ago. I thought about that full circle. My life in Columbus was quiet, not glamorous, just real. I upgraded my apartment in 2023, $925 a month, actual bedroom, quiet building. I had a small circle of friends, Jenna, 2 co-workers, a neighbour with a dog, a pet sometimes. I went to therapy starting October 2022, processed the family stuff, learnt about boundaries, learnt that I don't owe them is a complete sentence. I tried a few dating apps, nothing stuck. I decided to focus on myself. I saved 20% of every paycheck, had $18,000 in savings by 2024. First time in my life I felt financially secure. I deleted Facebook in 2022, kept LinkedIn for professional reasons only. No Instagram, no social media drama. Thanksgiving 2021, I almost called. I was alone in my apartment. Jenna was visiting family. I made box stuffing and chicken. I scrolled through old photos, saw a family photo. Me, Dad, Bryn, Danny, the kids. Bryn's new baby. Caption, thankful for my family. I almost dialed, hung on the phone, typed mom in my contacts, stared at it for 5 minutes, then I deleted the contact instead. All of them. Mom, Dad, Bryn. Erase the numbers. I whispered to my empty apartment, I'm thankful too for the back door. I don't need them to be proud of me anymore. I was proud of myself. That would be enough. April 15, 2024. 5 years since the day I walked out. I woke up, made coffee, looked around my apartment, my furniture, my dishes, my books, my peace. I thought I did it. 2 years later, everything changed. April 8th, 2026, Tuesday morning, I was at the desk reviewing applications for a project coordinator position. We'd posted it 2 weeks ago. 98 applications. I was scrolling through the spreadsheet. Names, emails, phone numbers. Then I saw it. Bryn Riot, formerly Savage. My coffee cup stopped halfway to my mouth. Bryn, right? My sister had gotten married. The boyfriend Danny must have finally committed, right? The Riverside area code on the phone number. My hands didn't shake. I trained myself for composure in difficult situations, but my heart rate spiked. Bryn didn't know I worked here. She didn't follow me on LinkedIn. She didn't know where I was. This was coincidental. Meriden was a good company. She was applying because it was a good job. She had no idea. I clicked on her application file. The resume loaded. Professional template. Clean designer header. Bryn, right project coordination and operations specialist. I scrolled to work history and that's when I saw it. Savage Climate Control, Riverside, Ohio, Operation Managers, at January 2017 to December 2019. Bullet point below, managed daily office operations for 8 employee services company, coordinated schedules for 4 field technicians across 6 county service areas, process invoices, maintain customer database. I read it 3 times. Every single bullet point was work I'd done. January 2017 to December 2019, the exact years I worked there unpaid, the exact duties, even the 98% customer satisfaction. I'd calculated that in 2018, using customer feedback forms, Bryn had worked at Savage Climate Control for exactly 0 days. She had Olivia in 2015, been a stay-at-home mom, dabbled in blogs, photography, never had an office job. She had stolen my work history. I scrolled down to references, 3 listed. 1. Gerald Savage, owner, Savage Climate Control, former supervisor. 2. Melissa Bren, client, Riverside Community Church, professional reference. 3. Amanda Holcomb, former employee, Riverside Photography Studio, peer reference, my father, listed as our former supervisor. He would lie for her, of course he would. He'd always protected Bryn. Standard Meriden background check process, verified employment with listed employees, call all references, check for gaps or inconsistencies, flag concerns before interview stage. I had 2 options. Option 1, flag the application for conflict of interest, rescue myself, let another HR member deal with it, move on. Option 2, follow standard protocol exactly, treat it like any other application, let the process play out. But if I rescued myself, I'd never know the full truth, and I wanted the full truth on record. I chose option 2. I pulled up Bryn's LinkedIn profile, job history matched her resume, photo of her with the kids at the workspace, a kitchen table, her bio, mom of 3, operations pro, family focused leader. I checked her employment history more carefully. 2020 to 2021, no jobs listed. 2021, sales associate, target 3 months, then gap. 2022, administrative assistant, dental office, 5 months, then gap. 2023, receptionist at the gym, 4 months, then gap. 2023 to 2024, virtual assistant, self-employed, no viable clients, job hopping, no position available, then 5 months, no references from anyone except dad. Bryn was desperate, that much was clear. And then she lied to get in the door, but I needed one more piece before I made my decision. I opened Meriden's application tracking system, searched Maisie Savage in Archive 2, and 2 results. Application dated June the 9th, 2020. HR coordinator hired. Application dated April 8, 2019. Exclusive assistant to CEO rejected. I clicked on the 2019 file. Resume, cover letter, interview notes from Patricia, James, Nicole. All positive, self-motivated, impressive, initiative, strong candidate. Then HR note sections. Red flagged entry dated April 16th, 2019, 9:23 a.m. Received email from concerned party regarding candidate stability. CTT attached. Recommended. Do not proceed. K. Patterson. HR coordinator. Attachment link. I clicked it. PDF open. Email dated April 16, 2019, 8:47 a.m. from concerned neighbour 209@gmail.com to hr@meridenconsulting.com. Subject: concerns about candidate Maisie Savage. I read it slowly. To whom it may concern. I am writing as a concerned community member who knows the Savage family personally. I feel it's my duty to inform you that Maisie Savage, who interviewed for a position with your company yesterday, has significant personal and mental health issues that make her unsuitable for professional employment. Yesterday, April 15th, Maisie abandoned her 4-year-old niece during a family emergency. Her sister had an urgent meeting, and Maisie had agreed to provide childcare, but she left the child unattended and disappeared for hours. The family had been very worried about her increasingly erratic behaviour. Maisie has struggled with responsibility and commitment. She has never held steady employment and has a history of quitting jobs and obligations without notice. Her family have tried to help her, but she is resistant to support. I understand you must make hiring decisions based on qualifications, but I feel morally obliged to share this information. Maisie may present well in interviews, but her actual behaviour is unstable and unreliable. I hope you take into consideration for the safety and stability of your workplace. A concerned neighbour, I read it twice. Then a third time, every sentence was a lie or distortion. Agreed to provide childcare. I'd been trapped, abandoned, unattended. Bryn was there. My parents were there. Never held steady employment. I'd worked unpaid for 7 years. Erratic behaviour. I'd simply left. Resistance to support. I'd escaped control. The sender, concerned neighbour 2009 at gmail.com. I clicked the email metadata. IT skills from HR training. Email sent from Riverside, Ohio. IP address. I cross-referenced the IP trace to the residential address, my parents' home address. My mother had sent this the day after the interview to destroy my chance. They hadn't just blocked the door, they burnt the bridges, and for 7 years I thought I'd failed and that I wasn't good enough, but I'd been sabotaged, and Meriden still had the proof. If you're Team Maisie right now, drop Team Her in the comments, because what happened next, I've waited 7 years to tell this part. I sat at my desk, 11:37 a.m, coffee, mind racing. I had Bryn's fraudulent resume, my mother's sabotage email from 7 years ago, my father listed as a reference who would lie and power to expose it all. Part of me wanted to reject the application immediately, never speak to Bryn again, move on. Part of me wanted confrontation, wanted them to know I knew, wanted justice. Part of me wanted to follow protocol exactly, let the system work. Prove I was professional. I remembered my therapist's words from 2023. Justice doesn't have to be revenge. It can just be the truth. I decided I would conduct standard employment verifications, call my father, record the call, legal in Ohio with one-party consent, document everything. If fraud was confirmed, I'd follow company protocol, flag application, inform hiring manager, proceed to interview only if candidate disclose discrepancies first. They never do. Let Bryn's lies speak for themselves. I picked up my office phone, dialed Savage Climate Control. It rang 3 times. Savage Climate Control, Jerry speaking. My father's voice, I haven't heard it in 7 years. I kept my voice professional, cool. Hello, this is Maisie Savage, HR Director at Meriden Consulting Group in Columbus. I'm calling to verify employment for Bryn Wright, who listed your company as previous employer. Long silence. Then, Maisie? Yes, this is employment verification standard procedure. Can you confirm Bryn Wright, formerly Bryn Savage, worked at Savage Climate Control from January 2017 to December 2019 as operations manager? Another pause. This is yes. Yes, that's correct. Can you describe her responsibilities? She managed the office, scheduling, invoices, customer service. She was very good at it. Did she work full-time? Yes, full-time, very reliable. Why did her employment end in December of 2019? She left to focus on family, had kids. Would you rehire her? His voice confident now. Absolutely. Bryn was one of the best we've had. Every word was false, and I had recorded it. One more question, thank you. One more thing. During that period, January 2017 to December 2019, did you have any other employment performing those same duties as manager? Pause. No, just Bryn. That was the lie that mattered, because I existed. I'd been there. I have tax records showing me as a dependent, not an employee. Old customer emails addressed to Maisie Savage, Savage Climate Control. Thank you, I said. That's all I need. I hung up, saved the recording, wrote one line in Bryn's file. Employment verification complete. Discrepancies noted. Recommend in-person interview to clarify, because I wanted to look her in the eye. I sent the interview invitation a week later via the ATS system. Dear Bryn, thank you for your application to the project coordinator position at Meriden Consulting Group. We would like to invite you for an in-person interview on Monday, April 14th, 2026 at 10 a.m. At our Columbus office. You will meet with Maisie Savage, HR Director, Jonathan Reeves, CEO, Nicole Hendris, VP of Operations. Please bring a government-issued ID and be prepared to discuss your previous employment experience in your operations management. We look forward to meeting you. Best regards, Meriden HR team. Bryn responded the same day. Thank you so much. I'll be there. Looking forward to it. No recognition of my name. No pause. No question. 7 years of separation meant Bryn had never looked for me. Never wondered, never cared. I told Jonathan Nicole candidate has potential resume fraud. Let me lead. They trusted me. Said, okay. April 14, 2026, 9:55 a.m. I sat in the conference room. Jonathan and Nicole flanking me. I watched the lobby entrance through the glass window, waiting. 9:58. A woman walked into the lobby. Brown hair, familiar build, nervous smile. Target brand, business casual. Clenching a portfolio folder. Bryn, older than she'd been in 2019, 29 now, tied around the eyes, trying hard. She approached reception, said her name, got the visitor badge. The receptionist pointed towards our area. I stood, walked to the lobby, made eye contact. Bryn looked up, saw me, froze. I extended my hand. Professional. Bryn, I'm Maisie Savage, HR Director. Welcome to Meriden. Her face went white. Her hand went. She shook mine with clammy. Maisie, I didn't know you worked here. 7 years was a long time. Things change. Please follow me. I walked calmly. She followed, heels clicking. I could hear her breathing quickened as we passed the glass conference room where Jonathan and Nicole waited. I opened the door, gestured for her to sit. She sat facing 3 interviewers. I took the centre seat. Control position, I smiled. Professional, kind even. Let's get started. Can you walk us through your resume? Bryn opened her folder with shaking hands. The first 20 minutes was standard. Jonathan and Nicole asked questions about project coordination, software skills, time management. Bryn answered adequate, nervous but prepared. Nicole leaned forward. I see you worked at Savage Climate Control. Tell me about that role. Yes, I was operations manager for 3 years. Small family business. I managed everything. Scheduling, customer service, billing. It taught me a lot about wearing multiple hats. I took note, no expression. Family business. Yes, my father's company, I see. And what years were those again? 2017 to 2019, full-time? Yes. Jonathan asked her about her employment gaps. She explained, focusing on family, 3 children, some freelance virtual assistant work. Ready to return to structured employment, I asked. Can you provide references for any of the freelance clients? She paused. They were mostly informal arrangements, word of mouth, nothing I have documented for. At 10:22, Jonathan said, Thank you, Bryn. We would like to take a short break. Maisie will continue with you for a few follow-up questions planned. I asked them to leave after 20 minutes. Jonathan and Nicole left. Door closed. Just me and Bryn. She looked at me finally. Really looked. Maisie, I didn't know you'd be. I held up my hand. Let's talk about your resume. I slid the printed resume across the table, pointed to the Savage Climate Control section. You listed Operations Manager January 2017 to December 2019. Is that accurate? Yes. Full-time, 40 hours per week. Well, it was flexible family business, but you were paid. It was more of a family contribution, but I did work. I called your reference, Jerry Savage. He confirmed you worked there full-time as operations manager. He said you were the one of the best he had. Did you ask him to lie? I did work there. I helped out. Helped out? That's different from operations manager full-time, January 2017 to December 2019. I don't understand what you bring. I kept my voice cold, calm. I worked at Savage Climate Control from January 2017 to December 2019, unpaid full-time, doing the exact job you claimed on your resume. Every single bullet point here, I wrote them because they're my accomplishments. You took my work history and put your name on it. Her face went red, then white, then red again. She opened her mouth, closed it. I needed a job, Maisie. I have 3 kids. Danny left. I'm alone. I just needed something on the resume that looked professional, competent, real. Silence. Then I slid the second document across the table. The email from April 16, 2019. What is this, she said. An email sent to Meriden HR the day after I interviewed here 7 years ago from concernedneighbour2019@gmail.com. It claimed I was unstable, that I abandoned your daughter, that I was unemployable. I don't understand. It came from Mom. I traced the IP address. It came from her computer at the house the day after I walked out. I didn't know about that, but you knew I sabotaged my interview. You were there that morning. You dropped the diaper bag at my feet. You watched me leave, and you let them tell everyone I had a breakdown. Maisie, I was 22. I had a 4-year-old, and I was pregnant. I was overwhelmed. I needed help, and I had a life-changing interview. I needed opportunity. You chose. They chose. I lost the job because of this email, and I didn't even know it existed until last week. Her voice raising. You left us. You just walked out like we meant nothing. I left because I was drowning. You turned me into your unpaid nanny. Mom and Dad turned me into their free labour for 7 years. And when I finally tried to save myself, you destroyed me. Bryn started crying, not delicate tears, ugly, desperate crying. I felt nothing. I'd cried all my tears years ago. Then Bryn said the sentence that broke it open. You don't know what it's been like. You left and everything fell apart. We needed you. That's when I noticed the conference phone. The little light was on. The call was active. My phone lit up. Text from Nicole. Maisie, conference line. 12 people listening. My assistant has scheduled a 2:30 client call in this room. Set up the conference bridge to test the audio at 12:15. It was now 10:38, but the system has glitched. The line has connected early and 12 people were on it. Jonathan Reeves, Nicole, 3 senior managers, 6 client stakeholders, Patricia Holland, my original 2019 interviewer. They heard everything from let's talk about your resume onwards. I looked at Bryn, looked at my phone, looked at the speaker showing active call 12 participants. Bryn kept crying, not noticing. I lost my job in 2021, then 2022, then 2023. No one wants to hire a mom with gaps. You don't know how hard it is. I had to lie because no one would give me a chance. I reached over, clicked the mute button, then unmute, making sure they heard clearly. I could have ended the call. I could have protected her. 7 years ago I would. But I've learnt something. The truth deserves witnesses. Bryn was spiraling, still not realizing she had an audience. Mom said you come crawling back. She said you failed, but you didn't. You got this job and you didn't even tell us. You just let us think you were nothing. Do you know what Dad says about you? He says you're selfish. He says you abandoned family, and now you're sitting here judging me. I'm not judging you, Bryn. I'm conducting a background check. And you lied on your resume. That's fraud. It's not fraud. I helped at the company. Helped. Past 10. Occasionally while I worked 40-hour weeks unpaid. You claim my job, my work, my compliments, and Dad's lied to verify you. We're family. You're supposed to help family. I did for 7 years. And the day I tried to help myself, you blocked the door. Bryn stood up, screamed, you think you're better than me because you have some fancy director title. You're nobody. You've always been nobody. Girls like you. She stopped because I was staring at her. Finish that sentence, I said quietly. She sat down, face collapsing. My office phone rang. I answered Jonathan's voice. Maisie, I need you to end this interview now. Security's outside. Understood? I looked at Bryn. This interview's over. The door opened. 2 security officers, professional, not aggressive. Madam, we need you to come with us. Bryn looked up. Wait, what? Why? You've been escorted out for fraudulent application. It's company policy. Maisie, please, I'm so sorry. I needed this. Please don't do this. I stood professional. I'm sorry, Bryn. I can't hire someone who committed resume fraud. I have to protect this company's integrity. Security led her to the elevator. I didn't follow. Just watched from the conference room doorway. Bryn looked back once. My face was calm, not cruel, not gloating. Just done. I walked back to the conference table, spoke clearly into the speaker. This concludes the candidate interview. I'll send a formal report by the end of the day. Thank you. Disconnected. I sat alone in that room for 5 minutes. Didn't cry, didn't celebrate, just sat. Then my desk phone rang. Jonathan's office. He was there with Nicole, Patricia Holland, and our general counsel, Michael Brennan. I thought I'm fired, Maisie. Jonathan leaned forward. That was one of the most professional handlings of a conflict of interest I've ever seen. You followed protocol, you documented everything, and you gave her every chance to be honest. Are you okay? I was surprised. Yes, I'm okay, Nicholas said. We heard everything, the savage from 2019, the fraud resume, the family dynamics. I'm so sorry you went through that. Patricia spoke next. Maisie, how was your interview in 2019? I never saw that email. HR flagged you and I was told to move on to other candidates. If I had known, Michael, our general counsel said, we need to discuss next steps. The candidate committed application fraud. We have recorded evidence of reference fraud. We have 12 witnesses to her admission. We also have evidence your family sabotaged your 2019 application. You have grounds for legal action if you choose. I don't want legal action against my family. I just want it on record. And I want to make sure Bryn can't do this to another company. Jonathan nodded. Understood. We'll flag her in our industry network. But that's professional consequences, not personal revenge. Nicole handed me a tissue. I hadn't realised I was crying. I went home that day, turned off my phone, slept for 14 hours. The next 48 hours were chaos. April 14th, 6 p.m. Bryn called my work line 12 times. April 14th, 8:30 p.m. My father called, left a voicemail. This is a family matter. You have no right. Call me. April 15th, 9 a.m. My mother called Meriden's main line asking for me. Receptionist said she passed the message. Didn't. April 15th, 1 a.m. Bryn showed up to the Meriden lobby. Security turned her away. April 15th, 3 p.m. My father showed up. Demanded to see me. Refused to leave. Security called police. He was escorted out for trespassing. April 16th. Emails to my work account all went to spam. Sample voicemail from my father. Maisie, this is your father. What you did to your sister is unforgivable. She has 3 kids to feed. You humiliated her. You destroyed her chances of employment. This family gave you everything and this is how you repay us. You will regret this. Call me. Sample email from my mother. Subject line. How could you, Maisie? I don't know what happened to you. You used to be such a sweet girl. Now you're cruel. Bryn is devastated. The children are asking why Auntie Maisie hates them. Your father is beside himself. Please, for the sake of this family, fix it. Get Bryn that job. You have the power. Be the bigger person. Mum, I didn't respond to any of it. April 17th, I hired a lawyer, sent a cease and desist letter to all 3 family members. No contact via phone, email or in person. Any violation would result in a restraining order. The letter included documentation of the 2019 Savage email, evidence of harassment and a statement. Maisie Savage wishes no contact with Gerald Savage, Diane Savage or Bryn Wright. She will communicate only through legal counsel if necessary. 3 weeks of silence, then a message from someone I never expected. May 8th, 2026. Instagram DM to my professional account. Hi, this is Olivia, Bryn's daughter, your niece. I'm 11. I know you probably won't answer, but I want to say thank you for all your birthday cards. I kept all of them. Mum threw them away, but I took them out the trash. I have 7 cards from you. I kept in a box under my bed. I don't know what happened to you and my mum. She won't talk about it. But Grandma said you abandoned us and Grandpa says you're selfish. But you sent me cards every year. That doesn't seem like abandoning. I found your LinkedIn because Mum was looking you up and crying. I saw you work at a big company and I think that's cool. I want to work at a big company someday too. I'm not asking you to talk to Mum. I just wanted you to know I got the cards and I miss you. I don't really remember you, but I miss you anyway. Olivia. I sobbed for 20 minutes, then I replied carefully. Olivia, thank you for your message. I'm so glad you kept the cards. I think about you every year on your birthday. I hope you're doing well in school and that you're happy. You're a brave kid for reaching out. I'm not ready to have contact with your mom or grandparents right now, but I'm glad to hear from you. If you ever need anything as you grow up, advice about school, careers, life, you can message me. I will always respond. Take care of yourself, Art Maisie. I didn't give my phone number, kept it to Instagram DMs, didn't promise more than I could give. Olivia replied, thank you, that's enough. 1 month later, she sent another message. Mum got our job at a call centre. She's mad all the time, but I got an A in my English essay. I wanted to tell someone who'd cared, and I did care. And that was a relationship I saved from the wreckage. May through August 2026, weekly therapy, processing everything, grief. I mourned the family I wished for, accepted the family I actually have, anger. I let myself be angry without guilt, anger at being used, lies about sabotage, guilt. I worked through. Should have had brain more thoughts. Recognise I'd already given 7 years closure. I understood I'd never get an apology from my parents. Peace, I found it anyway. My therapist said you didn't destroy your sister's life. She did that with lies. You just refused to be a part of the lies anymore. I started running. First time exercising for myself, not to fit into borrowed blazers or look good for family photos, just because my body felt good moving. August 15, 2026, 4 months after the interview, I got an email from Patricia Holland, subject line, something you should see. Maisie, I've been going through all files after a conversation. I found something. In 2019, we were going to offer you the executive assistant position. I had drafted the offer letter, salary 63,500. Start date April 29th, 2019. It was ready to send. Then HR flagged your file because of that email. I was told to stop the hiring process. I never sent this offer. You deserve that job. You deserve to know you've earned. I'm sorry we failed you. Attached is the unsigned offer letter dated April 22, 2019. 7 years too late, but I wanted you to have it. You were good enough then. You're exceptional now. Patricia, I printed it, framed it next to my current business card, both hung on my office wall. The validation I needed for 7 years. It'd been good enough. I'd earned it. They stole it, but I'd built something better anyway. April 15, 2027, 8 years since the back door, 1 year since Bryn's interview. I'm still HR director at Meriden. Actually, I was promoted in January, VP of People Operations now. 115,000 a year. I launched a company mentor program for young professionals from controlling families. It's small, quiet, but it matters. I still get occasional messages from Olivia. She's 12 now, thriving despite the chaos at home. We talk about books, school, her dreams. I'm not her parent, but I'm someone who sees her, and that's enough. My parents moved to Florida, retired, no contact. The cease and desist held. Bryn is working retail management in Riverside. She blocked me on all platforms. I heard through LinkedIn that she's doing okay, not great, but okay. I'm dating someone now. Slow, healthy, no rush. I have 34,000 saved. Good credit. I own my car outright. I have friends, therapy every other week. A life I built from scratch, and I have peace. This morning I was training a new HR coordinator, 22 years old, nervous, eager. She asked, how do you spot resume fraud? I smiled. Look for gaps. Look for inflated titles. Look for claims without evidence, and always verify with the actual employer, not just references they give you. Have you ever caught someone once? It was personal, but I handled it professionally. That's the key. You can have history with someone and still do your job with integrity. She nodded, took notes. I looked at my calendar. April 15, 2017, 8 years. I typed a note a year ago, never deleted it. The day I chose the back door, I added one word, free. If this story meant something to you, if you've walked out the back door or you're still standing at one deciding, share this video. Someone in your life might need to hear it. Subscribe if you want more stories like this. Real people, real boundaries, real freedom. And remember, the front door isn't the only exit. Sometimes the back door is the one that saves you. Some doors you walk away from, some doors close behind you, and some doors, like the back door I took 7 years ago, led exactly where you need to go.